What's up, AfterBuzzers? Welcome back to the Righteous Gemstones After Show. We're going to be talking all about episode 4 tonight. We've got Satanists in it. We've got trampolines. There's some car crashes. And you know what? I am here for Kelvin and Keefe. So stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Just some plain old Satanists. We're just jamming out with the Satanists tonight. I think for everyone watching tonight, we should just bust out some of the moves from the episode.
If people didn't watch the show and just watch the after show, they would legit think we were like 666 ride or die.
Oh man, I hope they do.
At that. Yeah,
I hope they do.
I sure hope so.
I hope many of you did not watch the show and for some reason are tuning in to watch us right now. Speaking of us, look at this gem over here. Gem of a gemstone.
This is us. We are the new show.
Steph Sabraw.
Amy, thanks for having me right by your side where I like to be.
You know, I figured I would invite you onto my show.
Thank you. As the Lord would have it, it is my lucky day.
You know what? It is. It is. Praise be. Praise be. Praise be the Lord. We were just saying before we went on air, what a good episode.
Yes, Amy Maestri in the house.
Thank you.
Let me introduce you since you forgot to introduce yourself. You
I'm so
satanic pig!
So sorry. I'm so sorry, guys. So excited about this episode. But yeah, that's my name. Thank you.
I'm Satanic Pig. She's Amy Maestri.
The Amy Maestri and Satanic Pig Show.
Yeah.
At AfterBuzz TV. Welcome.
As you were saying, though, because I am in complete agreement.
Gosh, yeah, last week they left us off with quite a bit. Gideon, starting to dive under the surface a little bit deeper, start to do some recon for stand-up guy Scotty. And we had everything go on with the pastors, and then this week really took a heavy focus on a couple of different characters. I love their balance in this show of the way that they're developing all the different story arcs, and not staying too focused on one thing or the other while still continuing on with everything. And I think this was a great episode for that.
Agreed. This was my favorite episode. So fun. So many different storylines hit. So many progressions and character arcs. And I, like you said in the cold open, am here for Keefe. Here for him in any sense, but especially Keefe and Kelvin.
What an episode for Tony Cavallero.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Tony, I can't wait for you to be in studio.
I know. We are very excited and ready for you, Keefe.
Me
okay.
Too. I'll dress up in my Satan's finest for you.
Yes, always. Speaking of Satan's finest, let's talk about this cold open. Those are some moves. I really was so hoping Keefe was about to jump in, but obviously not, because we don't want him going back to his old satanic ways.
He follows Kelvin now.
He does.
Yeah, it was cool to see his background and kind of what they were going to depict as. I didn't know if Kelvin was just deeming him as Satanist just because he wasn't like ride or die Christian, or if it was like this, which I'm glad that we got this obnoxious turn of events where they're legit Satanists and have these crazy clubs that they go to.
It's so good. And the way that they opened this episode of him just walking with his little ice cream cone, looking at all the nice people having fun, and then goes to find his Satan friends. Amazing. So this whole episode, I feel like they jumped around quite a bit. We had, again, I'm always so impressed with how much they're fitting into every episode.
For a comedy, it's crazy.
Yeah. It's one of those things where everyone always says, especially a pilot is so hard, when you have to establish all the characters, that world and everything. And we talked a lot in the pilot episode of how well they did all that. And they continue to, where they're doing all of this great story building and character building. And then we're still laughing out loud multiple times an episode.
Yeah, and this episode had more shock value too. So I not only laughed, I was like, what?
Yeah, exactly. So let's dive in to the meat of the episode. Gideon is now really getting behind the scenes. He is seeing all them dollar bills everywhere. What an angering thing to see. the behind the scenes of a megachurch.
Wow. And to find out that on a normal day it's $1 million, and on a big holiday when there's people like me who go to church because their parents make them on Easter and Christmas, you get upwards of $3 million.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, in our Righteous Rhyme That May Not Rhyme segment, I will be talking about one televangelist in general who his church makes upwards of that, and actually more per sermon or whatever it's called. So it's nuts.
It's so crazy. Like, when I talk about this show with my friends, everyone's just like, how does a pastor go about making that much money? And it's so crazy that there is so much money in it. And then you have those moments too where I love when Gideon was getting this behind the scenes tour, and Judy was like, oh yeah, anything important or any donation above 10K goes straight up to daddy. And they put it in the little like bank thing that goes straight. And I was like, the details of this show of making you hate this family so much, and the people behind these churches that just take advantage of everyone.
Judy's one-liners this episode were incredible.
Fire.
She was so feisty. But yeah, super interesting, and to see Gideon really playing his dad and then finding out what really happened kind of during that dinner with Scotty.
Yeah, so we get to find out that they met doing stunt work.
Yeah.
But to actually hear him say that, like, yeah, we were there at this convention, didn't want to go, mom dragged me, left my phone there to film it. So I think, it was kind of, we were all waiting to get to that point, but to hear him actually say it and kind of learn a little bit more about that, because they've been very, very scarce on details with the Scotty situation. So I like that we got a little bit more in this one.
But so that's it. We asked ourselves last week, is there more to the story than just Gideon thinking his dad's a hypocrite? But it seems like that is it. That in fact, him being there and seeing that they posed it at, and I don't know, the more that I think about it, I guess that would be enough for me to really hate my dad. But to take money from the church, which is out of your own pocket, seems like a dumb move. But I get that would enrage me beyond belief if my mom was getting played like that.
That's true.
And all these people putting money into their pockets for drugs and hookers and crazy stuff. Yeah.
And that's where I feel like there is still something a little bit more, but at the same time, you can see the justification even if there's not. But I remember in the last week's episode when Scotty was like, for what they did to me. So again,
with Scotty, I don't know what where Scotty plays into that.
Yeah, so I mean, it's still obviously a money thing for him, but there's something deeper there too. So I like that it's, we're kind of getting a little bit more, but I'm still really intrigued by that whole storyline. So then we have the kind of initiation of the storyline for Kelvin and Keefe, where after their mass sermon, I don't know what they call it, speech in front of millions.
Church. After their church,
air quotes. And they go to have their little family meal, and some of their biggest donors are, of course, their very close friends. And their daughter has taken to Satan.
Taken to Satan. Relatable. No, I'm just kidding. But so funny that they find a way to tie in the youth ministry, which is a hilarious talking point in general, because I read a lot of comments about the way Kelvin is dressed is exactly how all youth ministers dress, in that super geeky wear, the spiked hair, the little puka shell type necklaces, and tight like light cotton where you can see the nipples.
Just a little
type
bit.
Shirt. Just a little nip.
Little nip.
So, and the fact that they tied it in with donations. So obviously we're all hands on deck here now that there's a kid who's involved and money is involved in the church. So they would clearly want her to stay involved in the church. So I love that. And I love how all the kids, they are so wrapped up in pleasing daddy, wanted to be the one that like brought her back to Christ. But that's Kelvin's job.
Yeah, like it's so crazy how they all tried to throw their hat in the ring, and then just to see Kelvin's beaming face when Daddy chose him. And then again, Judy with the one-liners, when we said, oh yeah, my boys grew up eating this, and she's like, your girl too. Like, again, she's just really, really trying to get in there.
So good.
But then we have, which was kind of like a big tease from last week, from the predictions, was the wives getting together.
Yes.
So the handmaids are all gathering.
Chad, you didn't sign on to your email, little boy.
Oh, Chad.
That was so funny, but I don't sign out of my email, but I definitely don't keep records of, I don't do that kind of stuff, but if I did, I wouldn't be keeping email records that last forever.
Probably not.
You incognito window that. Come on.
So she finds all these messages. Amber is actually brainwashed at this point.
No, I know, it's like Scientology wife.
Oh gosh, who immediately, and her friends even realized it too, because as soon as she said it, she went right to Amber and said, Amber, like, don't just look over this. And what does Amber do? Blames it on her because she shouldn't have gone behind her husband's back. And that is actual handmaid's shit.
Relationship 101, if you come to someone with facts or evidence that show that they cheated or stepped out or did something wrong, and their first response is to say something along the lines of, why would you go through my stuff?
Yeah.
They did it.
Yeah.
Just know that.
Some solid life lessons from Steph.
Not like I've been through it or anything.
We're just airing it out tonight, guys. Airing it out.
Let me use this as my therapy. No, but seriously, it's crazy to see all the women kind of hold Amber in a higher light. So when she says something, they let her say it, even though that they know she's completely brainwashed. And this was just the most hard upfront evidence ever. But it's funny to see also the writing is so, I love how they wrote this, because there is a lack of pop culture knowledge in certain communities, and this is one of them where they could easily make lies around some of the lingo used because the women and men and whoever lives there might not know.
Yeah, and I think this was a great scene too, because you got to kind of see like the one, just like they're just so pent up. And the one when she just loses it, Chad's wife, and just goes bananas. And I love the lead up to it, the line, who the fuck is hacking my husband, North Korea? Like, no one cares about him.
True.
So I loved getting to see her just kind of go off the rails.
No.
And that's the moment I mentioned last week in predictions I want to see for Amber eventually. And I'm still hoping and thinking we're going to get that.
Oh, yeah. After tonight's episode, for sure.
Yeah.
She's catching on. They can't keep these webs of lies going. But if I'm Chad's wife, I know in those religious marriages, you did not sign a prenup. So you better take your half and leave.
Get out of there. Okay, let's talk about our boys. Let's talk about our boys, Kelvin and Keefe.
I hate to get in the middle of relationships, but let me just say, I ship this so hard, I would sign a petition over it.
I think we should start one.
Please.
I am so into this bromance / friendship / love story / mentee, mentor, whatever.
I want my future bae to stretch me the way Keefe did.
Yes. So again, Kelvin was given this high honor to help pull the devil from this child. And first, let's talk about just raiding this teenage girl's room and ripping everything down from the walls. I think my highlight of that whole thing, though, was the high five in the middle of the room. I don't know why. It tickled me.
It was so funny because Keefe was acting like, and Kelvin, that all of the objects in her room were like Satan's Horcruxes. Like the most simple things, trophies, underwear, whatever it may be, are Satan's soul inside of these objects, and they're not in fact the objects, but they're some sort of evil spirit.
Exactly. Well, the fidget spinner obviously is. Sorry.
Close calls.
Close one.
But the used condom was the real kicker.
Oh, man.
Truly disgusting. There's that certain noise of a used condom that you just...
The editors must have had fun with that one in post.
I wonder what it was.
Burning questions. We'll have to submit.
Please let me know.
Yeah, we'll get that petition going, and also try to reach out to the show to see what was in that condom. So we'll get back to them in a little bit once they get to do more outreach with the girl and the club and everything. We'll get back into that a little bit later, because I want to also talk about the chat that Eli has with Judy and Kelvin, where again he is just stressing over and over again, he's a big donor, we have to save the daughter. And I just thought that was like a nice kind of like stop for a second to like remember why they're trying to go out of their way, and it's always about money. And I think this show is doing a great job of continuously always looping it in, like wherever they can, but not in like a showy way either.
Yeah, I mean, it's truly a crazy look inside where things can go wrong and become totally not ethical in any way, especially when you throw in religion, because it's a great metaphor for how other people get served in any sort of realm, whether it be education or medical care or just caring about them. If you have money, you're more likely to be paid attention to, and they use it in the most disgusting way, but it's pretty awesome because she is the perfect example. I love how they were sitting and she called and they were like, she's mad because we took away the jet.
Because I know that was my biggest problem in high school.
Yeah, me too. I hated when Daddy took away my jet privileges.
It was the worst.
The worst.
Anyways, speaking of the worst, watching Amber with a handgun is possibly the most terrifying thing I've ever seen in my life. I know we talked about in the pilot, like when they show like the firing range and everything, and like, again, what else would you expect on a church compound? But watching her do like tactical training, I was a little scared.
What goes better? What better duo is there than guns and God? Is my question. The GOP would definitely approve that message. And the NRA. GOP times NRA equals Gemstones.
They're just like, yes, preach, Steph, preach.
Keep going. I really like where you're going with this. But I think that's definitely going to play into another episode. They've been so specific with the scenes that they use and how they build up these characters. There is no way that this woman has a dead shot and isn't using that in some way in the future of the season.
100%. I'm really loving what they're doing with her, because it is kind of like a smaller storyline that's happening, but it's still there, and it's like kind of creeping up on us every once in a while. And that's why I'm tracking that. I'm tracking that one. But then, of course, she's still trying to push the idea of like, we need to help them. We should save their marriage, Chad, and we need to help them see Jesus again. And of course, Jesse, with his own motives, wants to do it just to help kind of smooth everything over. So they go over to have dinner and try to help them see the Lord again, so that, God forbid, the woman doesn't look at emails ever again.
God. It's just so funny because this idea of truth and ethics and living by your word, and especially with relationships, and when Chad is like, well, I feel like the lesson here is that the truth will always come out, and he was like, no, it's not the lesson. That is not the lesson. The lesson is that we keep moving forward with our story. And so it's so crazy to me, because I live my life fully transparent. I think I told like one lie in a relationship and it screwed up. It was a minor lie, but I just didn't feel like coming clean with it, and then it just spreads. And another relationship tip for y'all, just be honest. Even if you're sleeping with hookers, doing cocaine, and then sleeping by the Bible at night, just be honest, because it's gonna come out. You're gonna screw everyone over, and it's just so much. It's so refreshing. It's so much more attractive for you to just be fully honest. You'll probably end up making less mistakes because you're practicing honesty instead of living under this guise of your lies.
Again, Steph. The insights tonight. Loving it.
You're welcome.
But let's get back to our boys now and talk about really after Kelvin trying to be cool is one of my favorite things.
Sky's out.
When he goes to get her at her lacrosse practice, he's Mr. Cool Guy now, very cool. Gets her to come out to the youth meeting, which is at the sky, like he's just doing some trampoline tricks because that's what a good youth pastor does.
And what a good turn of events that he was really good.
I know, because
it would have been an easier play to make him bad because we saw him try to jump the fence and he couldn't do that. But I love that he was actually legit, like so legit at it. And it was this moment where you think they're going one way and then they don't because you think she's falling for it and being like, this is cool.
Exactly.
And then doesn't. She literally goes to a Satan party.
Exactly. Also, we've been shouting out the wardrobe on this show a lot. Keefe's shorts. I don't know where she found those, but that's...
What did the shirt say?
Oh, I can't remember. They're matching shirts. If anyone remembers, put it in the comments.
Yeah.
We don't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, so again, the shirts were such a great move too, because then taking us into the next scene, we're at a Satanist club where there's orgies going on and people are doing crystal everywhere and they're just rocking their Jesus shirts.
What is an orgy for $400?
What'd you think of that club, Steph?
I want to be there. I would fit in perfectly. What I love about the club was after finding out when Keefe was like, when I was a teen boy, I used to dance naked in the cages.
When I was a teen boy. The specificity of that, instead of just saying when I was a teenager.
Oh my gosh, if I ever had a dating profile, that would be my bio. When I was a teen boy, I used to dance naked in the cages.
When I was a teen boy. Amazing.
Yeah, the party was crazy. And I can't believe this little Christian girl has turned that far to the opposite side. I mean, there is no in between in this show.
There really isn't. You're one or the other. And we've seen, Keefe has been on both sides of it now. One of my favorites in this too is, again, the underlying thing of Kelvin always needing to please his dad, and he finally actually says it.
Yeah.
Like, listen, I just need to know, need to have daddy know that I did this, that I fixed this, that I won. So it's still just always there. But then, of course, they saved the girl. We had a moment. Was Keefe going to go back to the dark side?
I know.
Strong.
Such a cool scene to have the club sinister raided and have that happen, because that would be the only way. First of all, practicing honesty, letting her know this is for daddy.
Exactly.
First and foremost. Second off, I do want you to be safe and not be in this.
Exactly. So they get her out of there, and then we get that beautiful little speech from Keefe about Kelvin. That's the man I'm gonna follow now.
Swoon my entire soul, Keefe, because wow, what I would do to be talked about like that.
Oh my goodness, like the look in his eyes.
I followed that man.
The look in his eyes. And then getting to see them get back in the Jeep together, and Kelvin, also just saying like, hey, you're my prize, basically, of like, and I was just like, oh boy, it's happening. It's happening now. It's happening.
Please let this happen.
Such a good episode for the two of them. And so with this final scene, I mentioned it last week, where they've done such a good job of establishing that they're not scared to go dark. They're not scared to get like bananas and go completely off the wall, is something you wouldn't expect.
Off the road.
Ayo. But the fact that they had Kelvin and Keefe driving, they had Amber and Jesse driving, and they had Gideon and Scotty, and we've seen Gideon and Scotty getting high and drinking all night, and I was just like, oh shit, like I straight up thought someone was gonna die, because again, this comedy has me sitting on the edge of my seat at the same time too. Like,
yes,
are they gonna kill a Stark? It's Game of Thrones. But so I was already on the edge of my seat, and then of course we see him see the red van, recognize it, and go after it. And this is where we slowly start to see Amber again. Lady, your husband's chasing down a van like a maniac, saying, don't worry, it's the fellas I do car pranks with.
Yeah, that, bro, you screwed yourself over. She was so just eating out of the palm of your hand, and then that was the kicker. Like, there's always one that takes it too far. That's it. What?
That's
you just
the one.
randomly just found this car that you do pranks with, whatever. But on the flip side, we're getting closer and closer to a Gideon, like knowing Gideon is involved in this somehow, and I can't believe I thought for sure he would make that connection, but it didn't happen. But he's for sure screwed with Amber. There is no way that she doesn't know now, because that was nuts.
After this high-speed chase, let me get out of the car with my gun. Because
nice
it's just
gun, though. Why?
Very pretty.
I don't like guns, but I mean, that was like the Porsche of guns.
Well, nothing but the best for the Gemstones. Of
Nothing
course.
but the best. They could never hold a normal, non-matted white gun.
Exactly. So, man, a lot in this episode.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of stuff, again, still getting set up for the weeks to come. But, man, yeah, standouts of this episode for me definitely are boys.
Yeah, 100%.
100%.
But really cool setup. I don't know if we'll get it next episode because of the preview we saw and we got into predictions, but cool setup to see where Amber will go with this information now and what Gideon will do now, because damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's a little too close for comfort for him, I'd imagine. Also, where's Scotty gonna live? His van home.
I live in a van down by the river.
Excellent.
Thank you. Yes, we are on an SNL panel together at AfterBuzz, and that season, our next season, is coming up shortly.
Yeah, at the end of this month, actually, the last weekend of September.
Yes. Side note, you guys, thank you for watching us here at AfterBuzz, making us the ESPN of TV talk. Yes, we cover SNL. Yes, this studio and this network covers literally every show imaginable, and we can't do it without you guys. For us to continue to do this, we'd love if you would specifically like this video, leave us a comment, and if you're listening on iTunes, go ahead and give us 5 stars, leave us a review, subscribe to us on YouTube, all of that good stuff, so you can keep up to date. But other than that, thank you for rocking with us. We truly love you. Jesus loves you too.
100%.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yes.
Praise be. We all love you. Thank you, guys. And now I think it's time we jump into our special segment. So this is our segment that we do every week, which is the righteous rhyme that may not always rhyme. Basically, where we go through some real televangelist megachurch pastors and just go in on them. So you know what, Steph? Take this away.
Let us pray. The man in question tonight has the last name Dollar. No, I'm not talking about Ty Dolla $ign, but I wish I was, and you will too. I'm talking about Georgia man, Creflo Dollar, and as his last name should suggest, the televangelist has amassed some riches indeed.
Oh, loud.
And he has the possessions to prove it. An American Word of Faith teacher, pastor, and founder of the non-denominational World Changers Church International. What a name!
Oh, God, Creflo.
Dollar has a reported net worth of $27 million. He has been criticized for his lifestyle and possessions, including, get this, 2 Rolls-Royce cars, a private jet, and million-dollar homes in Atlanta and Manhattan.
Oh, Jesus.
When his Gulfstream jet ran off the runway, he launched a full-fledged campaign to pressure his congregation into buying him a new $65 million Gulfstream G650 jet. I've never even heard of a G650 jet.
Preach.
Not only did he do this, he had a G650 plea to his congregation, and it reads partially as follows, and I quote, We are asking members, partners, and supporters of this ministry to assist in the undertaking of an initiative called Project G650. Okay, very Dr. Evil of you. The mission of Project G650 is to acquire a Gulfstream G650 airplane so that pastors Creflo and Taffy and World Changers Church International can continue to blanket the globe with the gospel of grace. We are believing for 200,000 people to give contributions of $300 or more to turn this dream into a reality and allow us to retire the aircraft that served us well for many years.
Oh, Lord.
End quote. This
Lord.
man of God told his congregation that he had visions of executing anyone who didn't pay tithes. Totally normal, right?
Loud.
Well, Dollar, I'm having visions of you giving me that jet of yours, you gluttonous man. In his name we pray, Jesus, amen, thank you.
Praise be. Praise the Lord. Praise Jesus. Sister Stephanie. Sister Stephanie.
Beautiful.
Looking at you in that hairstyle just makes me swoon. Are we having a Keefe and Kelvin moment?
I think we are right now.
Woo! Dollar bills, yo!
Oh, Creflo dollar bills.
Can you believe?
I cannot believe. What I can.
Imagine the audacity of making, like, of legitimately asking your church to pay, 200,000 people pay a huge amount of money.
Yeah.
Like, for a jet.
For a
Like,
jet.
Do public airlines not exist anymore?
Yeah, and because your other jet isn't good enough anymore. We need all the jets.
I can't.
This guy.
I can't deal.
Oh man, we again airing it all out tonight. It's a therapy session for us tonight. Oh man, well let's jump right into some news and gossip.
Woo!
AfterBuzz TV News.
Wanted to talk about our man John Goodman a little bit because we don't get a ton of him in the show. We got, a little bit more last week. I feel like we're going to see some good stuff in the flashback from him. We'll get to that in a little bit. But I just thought that this article was cool from the New York Times that I found that was basically talking about how he was a man without a series, is what they were calling him, who's one of these guys who's a TV icon of comedy. And after everything happened with Roseanne being a nightmare, he kind of was like, I don't know. I'm kind of liking not working, but I'm also not really sure. And so when
interesting.
So after when Danny McBride reached out about doing this, John Goodman said, I was unemployed and it sounded great. Goodman recalled, I read the pilot and I said, yeah, man, I'm free. I'll take it. I just love that John Goodman was just like, I don't know. I think I'm just cool, just hanging out. I got a little money set aside, I'm pretty sure. And then he's like, oh wait, he read the script and was just like, oh yeah, cool.
Wow.
Into it. And that's how we got the almighty Eli.
Wow, that's awesome. But I don't blame him. Like, if you're John Goodman and it's not gold coming to you, chill. Just chill. I respect that. I also respect you reading the news looking this damn good.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
incredible.
you. Maybe I should send this into some local news stations.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull my pony over so I have this rat tail for you guys.
It's pretty special. I like it.
Stroke it for you.
Man, we're a little too sexy. We need to calm it down.
I know,
in here
I'm
a little
sorry.
bit. It's getting hot in this studio.
Or else we might need those condoms. Like,
yeah.
don't get me started.
Praise the Lord. All right, let's get into some predictions.
Wow, the preview that we got for these predictions, though, really are setting me up for greatness. Yeah, I can't believe, because if you guys saw, there is always a little preview at the end of every episode, and this one we will see a flashback episode and actually get to know the relationship that started this all, and I'm so freaking excited.
Yeah.
But I'm curious if it will be, it seems like the whole episode will be that, and I don't know what it will give us, but everything has been very deliberate in the writing, so I'm sure it will let us know something.
Yeah, I think we're gonna learn a lot about just how, like we said, how this started, how they became what they are today, but then also all the relationships that were teased at last episode between Amy and Uncle Baby Billy. And
Miss you.
Yeah, Uncle Baby Billy, we'll see you next week.
Yeah, we miss you.
So yeah, I think I'm really excited to see what comes of that, but I do think, yeah, it seems like the whole episode will be in that, and then it's going to kind of be able to jump back in for the second half of the season with us having that additional context to get back into present day.
Yeah. Exactly.
So pretty excited.
I'm with you, but I'm still waiting for an Amber blow up.
Yeah, it's coming.
Amber alert! I'm done. Cut me off.
Anyways, on that note, Steph, where can everyone find you on the social media?
On the social media, I'm Steph Sabraw. You guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Steph Sabraw. We can talk Jesus stuff, Satan stuff, whatever you feel like.
And I'm Amy Maestri. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Amy Maestri, or maybe on your local news. I'm probably going to have to audition, obviously, with this wig.
Obviously, look at us. We're freaking gorgeous.
100%. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you next week.
Praise be!
Loud and loud.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.